It's been a week now since the new year started, and I'm still watching stuff they made in 2024. What If, Creature Commandos, Squid Game, which I suppose is a good thing. I'm not in a mad rush to find out what's new out there, so I'm probably in a better headspace than most people. Anyway, 2025 seems like an interesting time for Hollywood films. There's a bunch of films lined up that I really want to watch, so I made a list of movies that I'm definitely going to watch this year. I may not talk about them here, but I'm going to watch these films in 2025. My kid plays Minecraft all the time, and I'm sort of tempted to play it as well, but then I remember how many hours I've sunk into games in the past, and then think maybe it's best just to avoid the game. But they're putting out a Minecraft movie this year starring Jack Black, Jason Momoa, Emma Myers, Daniel Brooks, and also Jennifer Coolidge. They've got a really fun cast lined up, and also the plot seems like it could be fun. But then there's also talk online of how bad this movie is going to be, so I'm sort of looking forward to this, but also not looking forward to it. The Running Man is a really old Arnold Schwarzenegger film, back when he was not really Arnold Schwarzenegger. But before the film came the book written by Stephen King. I'd read the book back when I was in college, and I thought the book was rubbish. That's because I was young and stupid and probably didn't know any better. But a remake is expected in 2025, starring Glenn Powell and Michael Cera, and more importantly, directed by Edgar Wright. Edgar Wright is a man who makes fantastic films. He's directed Spaced with Simon Pegg. He also made Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, again with Simon Pegg. He did Baby Driver, he did Scott Pilgrim. Simon Pegg has done a lot of really fun, clever films. I'm really excited to see what he does with Running Man. Also, this might be a good time to dust off my copy and start reading Running Man again. I've talked about how much I loved Cobra Kai in an earlier video. So when I heard they were going to release a new Karate Kid film starring Ralph Macchio, I was excited. And then I thought a little more about it and began to wonder why I was excited by it. The film doesn't have Johnny Lawrence or Miguel or Hawk, so there really is no reason for me to want the sequel. Then again, the film could be a good film simply because it's a good film. And Johnny Lawrence and Miguel and Hawk could just be my introduction to the world of Karate Kid. And I guess it's time to let them go. Maybe I'll end up liking this film. John Wick was a brilliant action film, and its sequels don't disappoint at all, which is why I'm really excited about Ballerina. Admitted, I'm rather ambiguous to Ana de Armas, but then we also have John Wick in the film, so it's possible that the film won't be all bad. Maybe pretty good, in fact. Either way, there's going to be a lot of action in the film, and I've loved the action in John Wick films, so I doubt this movie will disappoint. Star Trek the original series has been the best TV show to come out of America, and I've been a fan since the show first aired on Doordarshan. I watched a lot of the sequels, sure, but I've also missed a few, including Discovery, DS9, Enterprise, and a few others. Section 31 takes off from Discovery, and I'm excited to see what they come up with. Look, I've been excited about Star Trek films and shows, even though a lot of them have turned out to be disappointing. Here's hoping this show is a lot more like Strange New Worlds or even the 60s TV show, and we end up having a good time. Thunderbolts with an asterisk. I don't know what the asterisk stands for. I don't think most of the internet knows what it stands for. In the grand scheme of things, I don't think it really matters. What matters is how good the film is, and I'm hoping it's good. I watched the trailer, it looks pretty good, so I think maybe this will be a good film. Then again, I thought Superman Batman would be a good film, and we got whatever we got, so what do I know? James Gunn's Superman is expected to be out in July this year, and I'm excited for it. Look, DC has not been doing too well in the past. They've released one flop after the other, but then they brought in James Gunn to work on Suicide Squad and then Peacemaker, which are both stellar. So with Gunn working on Superman, I'm excited. James Gunn has worked on some pretty good films before. He's written The Belko Experiment. He's written and directed Slither, Super, Suicide Squad, Peacemaker. So it looks like DC will be doing well under his leadership. But then he's also worked on Guardians of the Galaxy, which I thought was pretty average. It's quite possible that Marvel had some control over those films. Maybe Gunn had some sort of constraints while filming those films. Maybe that's why Guardians didn't feel right to me. But with Superman, I'm hoping we'll see a new face of DC that'll stay with us just like the old Marvel films. I love all kinds of zombie stories. Books, comics, TV, film. They're all great and they tell a variety of stories. Stories that range from outright horror, like in Quarantine, to comedies like Shaun of the Dead, to science fiction in Undead. 28 Days Later is probably one of the best zombie films to ever be released. The sequel, 28 Weeks Later, came out and that was pretty damn good as well. So when they announced that 28 Years Later was going to be released this year, I was pretty damn excited. Danny Boyle has had a good track record with this film series and I'm sort of excited to see where this zombie film takes us. I have been the biggest Mortal Kombat fan since the first game came out. My friend and I would play the game for hours. The first film came out and I watched the hell out of that film. And then the second film came out and I loved it just as much. I realized today that both those films were quite boring really, and the second film was exceptionally bad. So when they announced that the 2021 MK film was going to be released, I was excited. So I sat down and I watched the film and I was disappointed. It wasn't a horrible film really, but it was mediocre at best. And then they announced the 2025 film and I should have been uninterested really. But for some reason, I'm excited. I'm really excited about it. Add to the fact that they have Carl Urban playing Johnny Cage, it's going to be a fun ride. Or maybe it'll disappoint. I don't know. Look, every time they announce a new MK film, I'm going to be really stoked about it no matter how many times they disappoint me. I watched Into the Spiderverse at least 10 times till date. I'm probably going to watch it a bunch more times before I'm dead. I simply love that film. I watched Across the Spider-Verse in the theaters and it's a good film. It's a pretty good film. But I watched that film just once. I don't know why. Maybe I'll watch the film a few more times in the future and I'll love it as much as I like the first film. But I watched it only once. I am, however, very excited about Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. It's so surprising that a studio that's failed so miserably at all the Spider-Man adaptations has made a fantastic superhero movie, the best superhero movie ever. No, really, I think Into the Spider-Verse is the best goddamn superhero movie of all time. Better than anything Marvel has ever put out. Clearly better than anything DC has ever put out. Except maybe The Dark Knight. But other than that, best superhero movie ever. So, to say I'm excited about Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse would be an understatement. They've delayed this movie a few times already. I don't want them to delay it anymore. I hope it comes out this year, and whenever it comes out, I'm going to be there sitting in the theaters watching the film. And those are the films I'm looking forward to this year. I'm pretty sure half of them aren't going to live up to my expectations, and I'm sure there'll be a bunch of films I haven't mentioned that'll really rock my boat when they come out, but we'll see. And that's it from me here at the Psycho Film Pirate. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time.